Good morning and welcome to this morning's reflection, and how glad I am that we are together again at the beginning of another week. And can you believe it? We're in the middle of March. Well, almost. How long have you been a Christian? I would think that for most of the people who are listening to this reflection, that Christianity has been an integral part of your life for a very, very long time. And having been a Christian for a very long time, I would imagine that you have come to know the stories of our faith extremely well. And especially the story of Jesus' life. If someone asked you to tell you the story of Jesus' life, I would imagine that you would be able to do that quite easily, without referring to anything more than your memory. Because the story of Jesus' life is very deeply embedded within us. And we are asked to believe this story. That is part of our faith. To believe that Jesus was the Son of God, and that he came to die for our sins. And that he died and rose again and ascended into heaven. That is what we are called to believe. And we celebrate this story every year through the festivals of Christmas and Easter and all of the smaller events in between. And every Sunday, if you are a member of a liturgical church, it's quite likely that you might recite the Creed, which stems from the 4th century. And so we come to know the story of our faith. We come to know the doctrine of our faith so thoroughly. And because we know it so thoroughly, it becomes dull. Or it can become dull, boring, predictable, and lifeless. We know how it all ends. We know who the winners are. So we approach Jesus through what we know about him and what we believe about him. And though we know someone well, our knowledge of them can get in the way of being truly open to the many different facets of them. So what we know about Jesus gets in the way and lulls us into a false sense of security that we are on the winning team. And because we think we know Jesus so well, it prevents us from deeply connecting with him. Because after all, what more is there to know? What more is there to know? And so we are less open to admitting that there might be more to Jesus than we know. And so it's better to go to a place of deep recognition than a place of simply knowing. We are living in a time when Christianity as a world religion seems to be losing ground fast, especially in the Western world. In the Western world, we see the Christian faith tearing itself apart in violent polarization over homosexuality, female ordination, and abortion, amongst a few. And while we tear ourselves apart in this way, Jesus' call, his call to tend to the poor, to resist the desire to amass wealth, and to speak truth to power, these calls go unheeded in our Western world today. We are living in an era of enormous shift. And could this be an opportunity for growth? Is it time to ask an honest question? An honest question: what does it mean to be a Christian? Who is this Jesus that we profess and confess in our lives? He is much more than we know, and that is for certain. Jesus was a teacher of God's wisdom. He was a wisdom teacher. This wisdom is concerned with the transformation of the whole human being. But transformation from what into what? From our animal instincts and self-centeredness into people of love and compassion. From our judgmentalism, which is often the lens through which we look at the world, to an ability to hold the tensions of different points of view, just as Jesus did. He came to preach, and he came to teach a radical message for his own time, and it continues to be a radical message today. The truth is, we have so much to learn about Jesus. And sometimes it's necessary to re-examine our long-held assumptions so that we too can follow his radical calling. And so it is my prayer today that as we journey through this week, we might begin to look at Jesus in a new way, and that we might see facets of him that we have not seen before. Amen.